Welcome to the Trailblazers podcast, a space where we bring you real conversations with people who have chosen their own path, overcome challenges, and continue to make a meaningful impact in the lives of others. In this episode, I'm joined by Michael Teoh, founder and CEO of Thriving Talents, global speaker, entrepreneur, and one of Asia's leading voices on leadership, talent development, and the future of work. For more than 15 years, Michael has worked with Fortune 500 companies, governments, and organizations across over 40 countries, helping leaders and teams thrive in an ever changing world. His journey is one of resilience, purpose, and staying grounded no matter how high the climb. In our conversation, we explore what leadership looks like today, why culture and people matter more than ever, and how resilience, purpose, and continuous learning shape both our personal and professional journeys. This is a thoughtful conversation filled with practical insights and meaningful reflections for anyone looking to grow as a leader and make a positive impact. Join me for this inspiring conversation with Michael Teoh, who joined us all the way from Malaysia. Thank you for listening and welcome to the Trailblazers podcast. Hey. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Trailblazers podcast. This is a podcast where we invite people who have the courage and strength to start following unconventional paths. And as they travel along their beautiful journeys, they keep inspiring so many people. Today is a special day because I have a very special guest in the studio. Before I introduce you all to him, I'm going to quickly talk about his introduction. I'm your host, Sandhya, and it's my honor and privilege to keep inviting trailblazers onto this podcast studio. I'm hoping that this will give you a sense of inspiration and a level of motivation that you all probably may need at this moment. So thank you so much for your support and encouragement for this Trailblazers podcast. Today I'm talking with someone whose story completely defies the narrative. Michael Teoh spent over a decade bullied as a kid. He survived a car accident that would have killed him. He was a management consultant turned entrepreneur who built one of Asia's most respected talent development companies. He's spoken on stages with Richard Branson, Bob Geldof, and Barack Obama. He's been named a national youth icon twice by the Prime Minister of Malaysia. It's my honor, Michael. Thank you so much for taking the time for joining me today.
Thank you, Sandhya.
I was simply blown away when I heard you talk on the stage at the Malaysian Association of Professional Speakers Convention, which recently happened in May. Thank you for accepting my invite to come on to the studio and share your beautiful Trailblazers journey with us.
Thank you for blessing me with this opportunity, and hello to all of you out there. I'm here today to serve, and I hope with the lessons that I've gone through in my life, it will help you lead your lives happier and also safer as well, avoiding landmines and pitfalls that I had to go through. So I am honored to be here. Thank you, Sandhya, for extending this blessing for me to be here with you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Michael. It's my privilege to have you here. So before we get started into the deep dive of what you're doing right now, I'm curious to learn about what happened to the younger Michael, which really put you on this blessed trail that we are all enjoying today.
The younger Michael was raised in a loving family, middle income earners, in a small town up north in Malaysia called Penang, which is a tourist and industrial hub right now. The young Michael was bullied in school since kindergarten all the way up to, in Malaysia, we call it Form 3, and that is when he was 15 years old, because of two things. Number one, he was weak in sports, and number two, people often look down on him just because he came from a middle income family. And that's because he I find it very weird, Sandhya, speaking about me in the third person.
Yeah.
But there you go, right? Okay, so let's keep the narrative going. So Michael was lucky enough to have scored relatively well in his academic studies in preschool, that he managed to get into a school that is now renowned in Malaysia for being the only school so far to have produced two prime ministers. Right? So because of that, everyone in that school have certain expectations. You must be from a rich family. You must have come from an affluent background. And when students at that time, which again, I do not blame them, they do not know better. They're also young, right? So they did not know better, but they bullied Michael, in this case me, right? They bullied me because I was weak in sports and because I came from a social economic class compared to them. Now, I will revert back to the third person perspective. That Michael Teoh, at the age of 15, got so fed up with being bullied that he decided to change his life. And how he changed his life was he put a goal. He said, if I'm not going to be good in sports, at least I can do one sport that everyone else can do. Now, Sandhya, what is that one sport that you believe that everyone can do, regardless of your fitness level? What sport would that be?
Speaking?
Reading?
Studying?
Not really speaking. Not really studying. No, it's a sport.
It's a sport.
It is contested in the Olympics. But everyone can do this sport. You don't have to attend classes unless you want to be a professional at it. But you would have already learned this sport when you are growing up. What would that be?
Walking, running.
There you are. For those of you who guessed the second answer that Sandhya mentioned, running, give yourself a pat on the back. That's right. So running. Okay. So I decided to change my life by setting a goal when I was 15. That young Michael Teoh would say, I am going to run the fastest that I can. I'm going to be a sprinter. Now, even though I was weak in sports, and I know at that time I had no chance at all, I decided it's okay, let's just try. So I practiced for 2 months, Sandhya, practice. And then it came our national sports day at my school. 900 people were in attendance. And then I took my position. The referee blew the whistle and I ran.
Wow.
I ran, right? And I could envision that fairy tale ending. I could envision how life is gonna flow past me. All those people who bullied me, who first thought I could not do it. Finally, I could prove to them, at least there's one sport I could do that everybody else can do, and that is running. Now, Sandhya, guess what happened?
You won?
I took 2 steps, and I could feel that I was going to win. But then I fell down. I fell down with mud splashed all over my face. And for the first time in my life, my coach, we call him the sports teacher, we call him coach. So my coach came running to me and said this, Michael, do not stand up. And I was thinking, what nonsense is this, right? The first time in my life, when we fall, we are often reminded by our parents, by our teachers to say, come on, stand up, pick yourself up. Am I right? But for the first time in my life, someone actually said, no, don't stand up. And then I noticed why. For those of you who are listening or watching this right now, and including you, Sandhya, let's do something. Can I invite you to raise up your left hand?
Yes.
And can I invite you, with that left hand, touch your left knee. Give a nice massage to your left knee. Your left knee, all right? Hold on to that left knee. And I want you to imagine that very left knee came out of your body. That was what happened to me after just taking 2 steps.
Oh
I
God.
ran, I fell, boom, I fell. And the next thing I knew was my kneecap, my left kneecap, was out of my body. And my coach saw that. It's quite obvious. In a field that is green and brown, there's a white piece there. And that was my kneecap. They had to stop the sports day. The ambulance came. I was ferried to the hospital. My parents were called to the hospital. My mom was in tears. And the doctor actually told my mom that, okay, so at first when the ambulance brought me to a hospital, they brought me to a government hospital. So it's a low-cost hospital, but it's a government, it's a public hospital, right? So I was brought there, and then the doctors told my mom that my injury was quite severe, and they were not confident that they could operate on me because they were a government hospital. So they told my mom, can you please have your son transferred to a private hospital? And my mom was in tears already. My mom was like, how are we going to afford the hospital bill? And the doctors just said, we are sorry, we can't help you. The injuries seem very severe. Your son is going to need some modern machines to help fix his knee back. And, and my dad comforted my mom. My dad said, it's okay, we'll find the money somehow. Just send him over to the private hospital. So the government hospital dispatched an ambulance to send me to the private hospital. And then, yes, I got my knee fixed. My parents sorted out the finances. But the doctors told my mom and my dad saying that I will never walk normally like a person ever again, because I have injured my left knee so bad that it got disconnected. All my ligament was torn. I was in a cast for like 2 months. And then I have to go to rehab. Now, can you imagine, Sandhya, that Michael Teoh, me at that time, my thoughts was all over the place. It spiraled, right? Here I was like so determined to change my life. I was going to do that one sport that would actually just prove to the bullies that I could actually do something. But no, I fell, dislocated my knee. But I'm very blessed, Sandhya, and to all of you listening to this or watching this right now, because for some reason, I did not spiral into depression. I believe in God. I believe in the universe. I prayed. And I saw a trend at that time. Now, this was back in the early 2000s in Malaysia. The trend at that time was all the cool kids in school were all your sports athletes. All the nerds were all your participants in public speaking competitions, entrepreneurship competitions, debates, drama, acting competition. So I thought, oh, that's cool. If I'm not good in sports, let me go and explore public speaking, drama competition, entrepreneurship. And that was how my life changed. And that was how I developed my ability to speak, despite me being an introvert. I actually wrote a book of being an introvert right here.
I saw.
So,
Yes.
despite
I
being
want
an
to get a
introvert.
copy because I will definitely relate that. I'm an introvert.
Oh, okay. All right. Well,
Next time we
let me
meet.
see. Yes, please. I'll bring it to India for PSA. Right.
Yeah.
So I was an introvert before, but whatever you see right here is what I call. Okay, I will correct that. I am still an introvert, but sometimes people would feel I was an introvert. Past tense is because of how I portray myself. But what I can share with you is everything you're seeing right now and everything you're hearing right now, it's trained. You can train yourself to master a skill despite coming from a disadvantaged background, right? So I would say that young Michael Teoh was someone who used to got bullied, and then he was lucky enough to get out of his comfort zone, explore something totally different despite being an introvert, and then going into the realms of extroverts, public speaking, drama, acting, debating, and you see him for who he is right now today. So there you go, Sandhya.
Amazing, right? So you use the adversity to literally pivot to a completely new trail. That's pretty amazing because
And
not many can do that.
Well,
and you know
Sandhya, the thing is, when you have set your mind towards achieving a goal, do not allow excuses or negativity to creep in. If negativity or excuses or even problems or challenges or roadblocks do creep in, ask yourself this question: what can I do about it? Say to yourself repeatedly these statements: find a way, find a way, find a way. Now with Google, now with AI, the AI could teach you so many other ways as long as you are willing to open up to the AI. And I can tell this to you, Sandhya, as your podcast is amply named Trailblazers, people often think that Trailblazers have it all figured out. But I am not one of them. I do not have it all figured out. I don't think I will ever have it all figured out. But I can tell you my superpower being a trailblazer. I am shameless when it comes to asking people for help. I'm shameless. As long as my intention is good and kind, I will ask people for help so that I could learn, so I could build myself.
Absolutely. And that is the most important trait that we all need to have, to let go of our ego, even if we have something of that sort, because that's not going to help us to keep trailing, right? So absolutely amazing story, Michael.
Thank you.
Wow. And so tell me about the other thing that you mentioned. I saw on your profile. I wanted to ask you directly, what is a car accident? What happened?
Oh, that was interesting. So actually, I nearly got involved with 2 car accidents, not just one, it was 2. All right, so touch wood. Hence why today I no longer drive. I rather take Grab, or in that case, Uber. In India or South Asia, you'll be more familiar with that. And I find taking Uber or Grab saves me so much time because I get to do so much work at the back seat, right? But then again, he's setting their intention, right? That I want to maximize my time in the Uber ride or the Grab ride right here in Malaysia.
Right.
So allow me to share. And it's interesting because I'm going to share these 2 incidents with you really fast. And I'm going to also share with you what are some of the lessons I learned from these 2 incidents.
Sure.
The first incident happened when it was in the year 2016 at that time. And I remembered I just got a new girlfriend. And then I was living the life. I was having multiple streams of income. I was having a few businesses. I had a business in e-commerce, digital publishing. I was already doing my training company. I was organizing events. We brought in TEDx into Malaysia, grown it to be one of the largest TEDx in Southeast Asia, known as TEDx KL. KL stands for Kuala Lumpur. So I'm living the life, multiple streams of income, new girlfriend, and I remembered we just finished watching this show called Mandela, the show about Nelson Mandela. All right. So I was driving her back home, and it's interesting, Sandhya. So right before our podcast started, Sandhya, you actually said something. You said that I was so humble, right? But what if I shared this with you? In 2016, 2015, 2014, the Michael Teoh then, he was not humble at all. Now, bearing in mind, 2014, when I started off as a speaker, President Barack Obama, he was still the president at that time, visited my training. You would have heard of that story during convention as well. Right? Now, so this was in 2016. I was all over the moon. And then I was driving recklessly. And I remembered I even did something so foolish. I was driving and my girlfriend was like, please drive carefully. And I was like, don't worry, babe. And I said this: I am the king of the world. And then my car spun out of control. It spun out of control, but thank God my girlfriend at that time, she's a much more skilled driver than I am. So she pulled my steering wheel. Luckily, we managed to stop at the emergency lane, and luckily there were no cars because it was past midnight at that time. And she screamed at me. She was like, Michael, you could have gotten us killed. Now, in a girlfriend and boyfriend relationship, when your girlfriend start calling you with your name, it's serious. Or not, normally they'll call you with baby, darling, dear. But she's, Michael, you nearly got us killed. And then I was like, whoa, what? Now, here's interesting, Sandhya. That night when I got back, I could not sleep. And I asked myself, what if that was my final day on earth? Would I have departed the world peacefully, proud with what I have accomplished so far? I mean, I'm living the life, man. Multiple streams of income. I am the only speaker in Malaysia where President Barack Obama actually visited, sat in, and listened to his talk, right? Guess what, Sandhya? I called 2 successful entrepreneurs. I called one of them who is the founder of our largest bubble tea chain store, Tea Life. You may have seen it when you're here in Kuala Lumpur, Brian Liu. I called another person. This person co-founded Faith. Does Faith sound familiar in India?
Probably, I don't know.
Yeah, so Faith is Groupon, right? If you heard of Groupon.
Yes.
So Faith took over Groupon in Southeast Asia, and Faith has been taken over by an Indian company from India. I think it's called Pine Labs, something.
Pine Labs?
Okay. Pine Labs, all right?
Yeah.
So I called both of these founders of these companies, and they're good friends of mine. The Faith founder's name is Joel Neal. And I asked them, I said, hey, I have a question for you, right? Sorry to disturb you. It's past midnight. What advice would you give me? And both of them, they're in different locations, and they shared something eerily similar. They said, Michael, it's hard for us to give you advice because you are so outstanding already. But if you really want our honest advice, let us tell you, you need to focus. You are doing too many things. You are a speaker, you run an e-commerce website, you have a digital publishing company, you organize events. Michael, you're doing too many things. If you get to only choose one thing that you do, and you do it so well, what would that one thing be? So both of them gave similar advice. And that was when I decided to focus only on speaking and training. And that is how I built Thriving Talents, our company. I actually liquidated my stakes in the other businesses that I was involved in, and then I focused only on Thriving Talents. So that near accident changed my life. The second near accident that happened to me, I wasn't that lucky. So my car did spin again and hit a light pole, but it wasn't because I was being a jerk. The second time I got involved in an accident was in the year 2020. All right, so not too long ago, right? It wasn't because I was yelling, I'm the king of the world. It was because it was raining heavily and my car just skidded. So a lesson to share with all of you is this. Always check your car tires, especially if you have been driving that car for a while, all right? And I think the lesson in life is never underestimate the little things that you do. Like me underestimating the fact that I should have checked my car tires more frequently could have cost me my life. So there you are, Sandhya. So those were the 2 accidents that have occurred in my life.
Yeah. Such a beautiful message, Michael. But it's like we take life for granted.
Right.
Take families, relations, everything for granted, as if there is no end to this, right? So we just, it's, I think it's a level of arrogance and negative ego that we all carry around. But I mean, I really admire and appreciate your transparency in sharing these, these heartfelt stories. So thank you, Michael, for that.
If I can share one more thing, Sandhya. So I'm going to tie it back, right? You see, because your podcast is called Trailblazers, and I think many of our listeners and viewers tuning in, they want to be trailblazers. And oftentimes we see how trailblazers are depicted in modern media. They are very competitive. They need to be champions. They need to be winners.
Yeah.
Being champions and being winners are great, right? But never allow that journey of becoming a winner or a champion compromise your peace and happiness. So here is what I got to share. So let's go way back to the Michael Teoh when he was young, when he overcame the bullies, when he started to become a public speaker and he found out he was so good at it. And then what happened was he discovered that he, in this case me, I was very much involved in a competitive environment.
Yeah.
I was always comparing myself with people. When I did not do well in a public speaking competition, I used to beat myself up psychologically, thank God not physically, right? And I used to be a sore loser, right? And then I noticed when we go back to the year 2016, when that first accident happened, when I was like, I'm the king of the world, when I was driving recklessly with my girlfriend in the car at that time, if you could reflect on it, it was coming from a place of ego.
Yeah.
At that time, I felt, hey, I have multiple streams of income. Hey, people look up to me. The Malaysian Prime Minister has just recognized me 3 years prior as the national youth icon, right? So I'm the king of the world. I have a hot girlfriend. Yay, right? And then I drove recklessly, right? Again, it came from a place of ego. It came from a place of, oh, I'm comparing. And for once, haha, losers, looks like I have won. Yes, right? And that nearly cost me my life. Right? So again, I
Yeah.
think when we go back to the statement you mentioned, and even though you have been extremely so kind to me, Sandhya, when you said, oh, you're so humble despite the accolades you have achieved, maybe because I've learned not to compare. Because I can tell you one thing, during COVID, my business was severely affected. It was really bad. I can even tell you all this. In the year 2021, when we received our audited report of our company performance, our net profit of the year 2020, which we got to know in 2021 after it was cleared by the auditors, was 132 ringgit. How much is that in US dollars? That's like, wow, that's, oh my God, this is so bad. That's like 40 US dollars net profit in a year. Of course, my business partners, my investors at that time, they try to cheer me up. They're like, hey, Michael, it's okay. At least your company is not in debt. At least we are not in the red. We're not making losses. At least you still made 40 US dollars in net profit for all your effort in the year 2020. And it was during the COVID year, right?
Right.
But you know, at that time, the way how I ran my business in the year 2020, despite being in COVID at that time, it was very bad. Like I was so desperate that I would tell my team to like go out, look for clients, and when they can't go out in the first place, they would do virtual meetings like this. But every time when they come back to me and said, Michael, we did not close this deal, Michael, this client rejected us, and I'll get so mad with them. And until one day I gave up. And let me tell you what happened. I was watching the news and our deputy prime minister at that time actually said something like this. He said, what is meant for you will be yours anyway. Trust in the process. That changed my life. So after that, I told my team, I said, hey guys, as long as your intention and your conscience is clear that you're going out there, you know that we are selling our training programs, our speaking programs to people. As long as it's clear, just do your best. Don't slack at the job, but just do your best. And I can tell you, Sandhya, I found inner peace. And interestingly, when I found inner peace, in the year 2021, the net profit that my business got from selling our training programs, from representing trainers across the region, our net profit was even better compared to all the years that we have been in business since 2012. There you are.
Beautiful, beautiful, Michael. I think despite all the wonderful things that you learned to do really, really good, the moment when you actually started focusing on
Yeah.
the best thing that
Yeah.
was giving you happiness and peace, I think that was probably the turning point, which made you give your real best because you
Yes.
put your heart and soul in one thing that got you that peace.
Oh, yes,
Amazing.
Sandhya. And
Amazing.
Sandhya, for
Yeah.
all the trailblazers out there, you cannot be a trailblazer unless you find your inner peace. And for me, inner peace means whatever you're doing, does it give you joy, happiness? Does it help people?
Yeah.
If you meet all these criteria and that is your inner peace, you are well on your way to be a trailblazer.
Yeah. Yeah. And I really, admire the fact that people, although they might have been going through some negative things,
Yeah.
when they come on the screen or when they have to share, they don't really feel comfortable sharing about their failures. Even though, I mean, but you are so transparent and, like, genuinely you feel that if your story is going to help others, you're sharing it for a reason, right? And that itself, you know, differentiates you from so many other people. So I really appreciate you doing this. I hope that this inspires somebody who is listening out about this.
Thank you. You know, Sandhya, if they want to read up about how I met Obama or like
Yes,
how did I win a competition to travel around the world to 22 countries, be mentored by Sir Richard Branson, Sandhya, you could even look up all those information yourself online.
right.
But
Yeah.
I don't think there are much information about what transpired during my accident,
Yes.
the bully episodes of my life. I mean, they did touch a little bit about it, but that is to set the context. Like, oh, Michael Teoh is this great guy. He used to
Yes.
suck. He's now awesome. But no, I want to give value to your listeners and your viewers.
Right. And
Giving
that's
value.
exactly what I want to focus on.
That's right.
And that's why I'm not touching upon the stories which are already out there.
That's
But
right.
I really want to hear about your emotional journey and your turning moments,
Yeah.
which have transposed you to this situation that we are in right now, which is looking very good, my friend.
God bless. God
Right?
bless, God willing.
Yeah.
If I'm in a good situation right now, I hope that it becomes an inspiration, not only for others, but
Yes.
also for myself to
Yeah.
continue doing good things. So thank you, Sandhya. You're really
Yeah.
kind. Thank you.
Thank you, Michael. So one thing that I saw on your webpage that your
Sure.
mantra
Yeah.
is walk with the kings, but never lose that common touch.
Oh, yes.
And I could see that very clearly when I was listening to you, like with awe. And I was like, who is this guy? Like, did he just come out of college? Like, and then
I
the
wish.
speaker was going on and on and on about your TEDx and with Obama and Richard Branson. I was like, the speaker reel was like, just blew my mind. I mean, like, who is this guy? I mean, like this prodigy who came from high school or what? And, and then when I introduced myself quickly, we had this, a nice
Mini
conversation.
lunch. Yeah.
uh, yeah, and it was amazing. And then I started reading about you as I was preparing for this.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, this mantra. I actually made a note in my book, like walk with the kings, but never lose that common touch. I mean, it is such a powerful statement, which I'm going to like literally put it down
Oh,
as a
thank you.
poster. I believe like it says everything about your lesson learned that you just shared a
Yeah.
minute ago,
Yeah.
why you are staying grounded. I mean,
Yes,
it
that's right.
came out of your natural lesson. Yeah, tell me about it, Michael.
Well, first, I believe success is never a lonely journey. For anyone who says, oh, I'm successful because I work hard, I'm sure he or she worked hard.
Mm.
But I would also like to invite us to have a different perspective where we work hard, yes, but
Yeah.
along the way, people have also blessed us. For example, who knows, from this podcast, Sandhya, that you have blessed me to have me on board with you, perhaps this podcast would have inspired someone in India, in Sri Lanka, or anywhere else around the world to change their lives. And then they say, oh my goodness, I listened to this podcast by Sandhya called Trailblazer, and he featured a guest from Malaysia called Michael Teoh, and he changed my life. Wow! But it's really because people have blessed us along the way. So how I stay grounded is I always remind myself that that client that I got, that client who said yes to me, yes, it could be people would say, oh, Michael, because you're good, because of the leadership trainings, the communication skills training, the sales training that you do is awesome. But no, it is also because someone in that company decided to be kind to me. And my next question is, how can I be kind back to them? How can I continue the trail of kindness to others? Hence why, when you came up to me and said, hey, is it okay I invite you for a podcast? I said, sure, let's do it. Right? And there are gurus out there who said, you shouldn't make yourself so available. You must have scarcity and then people will worship you. I don't like to be worshipped. I don't believe in that, right? And people have asked me before, Sandhya, they're like, Michael, aren't you afraid of being taken advantage of just because you are so available? And I share with people, I mean, I'm not an angel, right? I mean, Sandhya, I got to give you credit. Like, this interview was supposed to happen, I think, last week. But because I had to attend a government meeting and you were kind enough to readjust our meeting right now.
No, it is mutual. And I would say it's more on you because, despite your schedule, and I know that you were actually rushing to attend this on time, that calls for your discipline and all of that. So,
No, thank you.
Michael,
Thank you.
so, my dear friend, so you are a youth icon and you are living the values that are required to claim that. So, I think you're blessed.
Thank you, Sandhya. If there's one advice I could give to all of our listeners out there in wanting to become trailblazers and leveraging on what you said about me rushing so that I would make it on time, even though I was 5 minutes late. So apologies again. I did WhatsApp Sandhya to say my apologies. Now, I always believe in this one lesson. Money once lost can always be earned, but not time.
Correct.
So when someone decides to give you their time, they're giving you part of their life. So if you can, try not to be late. If you are going to be late, please inform them way in advance. I informed Sandhya that I was rushing. My Grab driver, my Uber driver was doing her best to get me to my home so that I could have a nice space to do this for all of you. And I messaged you, I believe it was at Malaysian time was 1:48.
So 15 minutes before you already gave me a heads up, so it's all good.
Yeah. So I always have that mantra, right? And that mantra has served me well. Like you mentioned, walk with the kings, never lose that common touch. Success is never a lonely journey. But my dear trailblazers listening to this right now, honor people's time the best that you can. It is the littlest things that you do that brings most impact to them. And time is one of them. Please honor that.
Beautiful, Michael. Beautiful. This resembles all the different disciplines and the values that you probably must have adopted, learned through your different lessons in life that you experienced.
And from my different mentors and my parents as well.
Mentors. You're a good learner and you're a good student for life, I think.
Thank you.
Amazing. Amazing.
Thank you.
So, Michael, I'm really curious to know a little bit more about your work that you do.
Sure.
Especially to the youth and your trainings.
Sure.
So, could you share a little bit more about the future of work that you're so passionately working about?
Sure. So, one of the topics that I regularly speak on would be on the topic of managing across generations. That is to reduce the gap between those who are from a senior generation to those from a younger generation. So we see them a lot in companies, right? Now we have the Gen Zs who are coming into the workforce. And how do Gen X leaders understand the Gen Zs, let alone manage their headaches working around millennials and the Gen Ys? How do the Gen Ys become mentors to the Gen Zs? So I do a lot of work around that space. And to your statement of me working with youths, I work with young leaders, or we call them high potential talents in organizations, to equip them with skills so that they become more productive, more profitable, and happier for their organizations, whether
Right.
it be leadership skills, whether it be problem solving skills. But I work a lot with this group of young leaders, high potentials. Yeah. So that's what we do, the future of work. And now with the coming of AI, it's interesting. Will AI replace human beings? Yes and no. Yes, we are already seeing AI replacing human beings, but no at the same time, because as long as us as human beings, we are open to learn new skills, where new type of jobs which have yet to be created will be created soon.
Right.
As long as we have the open heart and the open mind to embrace those new openings, I think we will do quite fine. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Beautifully said. And I'd love to hear more about your work.
Sure.
Next time when we meet, we'll
Sure.
definitely talk about it.
Happy to
Yeah.
do that. You know,
Yeah.
for the trailblazers right here, you could just find out about my work at www.thrivingtalents.com. So I like your name, Trailblazers, and the name of my company is Thriving Talents, right?
Yes.
And
Beautiful.
we have run sessions across 43 countries so far. We were in India. We would love to go back to India. I was in Bengaluru
Yeah.
and also Mumbai, right? I know how to pronounce Bengaluru well. It's not Bangalore, it's Bengaluru. And it's
Right.
not Bombay, it's not Mumbai. So
Right.
that's nice, yeah. And then just last year we were in Sri Lanka. So beautiful. I'm just very blessed to be a global citizen and would
Yeah.
really love to also explore working with you, Sandhya. So of course that's another topic for another day. But then again,
I'm
if you
going to
want to
see
know
you
about my work,
Hyderabad.
yeah,
Yeah.
Hyderabad. I want to make I want to make that note to go there, right? Yeah.
Yes.
So yeah, check us out. My work at my website. Yeah.
Sure. Definitely. So, Michael,
Sure.
I know you've been recognized as a national youth icon.
Sure.
Could you share a little bit about your journey, how you ended up being recognized,
Ah,
and what were your afterthoughts? Just a brief spotlight on that part of the journey.
sure. All right.
I can see you smile. So, what's
No,
happening?
because I'll tell you why.
Mm.
If this was a PR exercise, public relations exercise,
Mm.
we have a script that has been produced by the then government of Malaysia to follow on how we, or in this case, how I was selected as a national youth icon by the Prime Minister. And the Prime Minister only gave out this title to 20 youths below the age of 35 in Malaysia. Okay, so only 20 of us were recognized. So I would now start with the PR answer first. Thank you for your question, Sandhya. All of my colleagues here who are part of the National Youth Icon cohort, we were recognized for our resilient contribution to the country. We have athletes, we have actors and actresses, musicians, singers, we have entrepreneurs, we have NGO leaders, charitable foundation leaders. These are all people who have served the country well. And yes, we did serve the country well. And that's how we got recognized by the Prime Minister. Now, that's the PR answer. Is there truth in that? Yes, there is truth in that. We all did serve in our own way. But let me tell you the real situation. But this real situation only happened to me. And I'll tell you why. I was no celebrity. I do not have a affluent family background, nor am I politically linked. So let me tell you what happened. It was in the year 2012. At that time, I would have just returned from a 1 year trip around the world. All right. For those of you who are a little bit lost, like, what do you mean going around the world for 1 whole year? If you could just Google Michael Teoh, my name, and then followed up with this word, your big year. Like your big year.
Yeah.
Michael Teoh, your big year, you're going to see stories about how I won this competition, met Sir Richard Branson, went to 22 countries around the world to do social impact projects. Amazing. Now, come back to the story. So I've just returned from my trip around the world, and I was working with the Malaysian government in an innovation agency, right? Now, at that time, I heard whispers that the Prime Minister was going to announce a list, an exclusive elite list of 20 of the nation's youth icons in January 2013. And that shortlisting of candidates was happening at that time. So again, when I heard those whispers, I had two choices. Choice number one, I'm just an employee in a government agency working on innovation-led projects. Yeah, I'll just forget about it. Who am I, right? Or a second choice could be, hey, let's try. But it's not like there's an application. It's not like you need to go to a website and apply. You need to be recommended. So what I did was, because I was working in the government at that time when I finished my world trip, I called people that I knew in the government. Again, remember this, Sandhya, what I mentioned earlier. Yeah. I'm a trailblazer, not because I have everything figured out. It's because I'm shameless when asking for help. So yes. I asked help from people in the government. I said, hey, would you happen to know about this short listing of 20 national youth icons by the Prime Minister? And I kept asking around until someone pointed me to one particular person. He said, yeah, talk to this person from the Prime Minister's office. So I got that person's number. I called that person up, and that person said, okay, I'm going to meet you at KLCC. So you've been to Kuala Lumpur, you would have seen the Twin Towers, right? Yes. So I remember meeting that person at a place called Ben's. It's like a upmarket, very expensive cafe. All right. Now, I'm just going to share this. Sandhya, are we allowed to swear in your podcast or no? Preferably not. Then I'm going to censor. Okay, I'm going to censor. Okay, so the reason why why I asked if we are allowed to swear, because I'm going to try to impersonate that person by verbally what he said to me, right? So bearing in mind, I need to make the disclaimer. That person, even though he works for the Prime Minister office that time, he did not come from the government system. He was the CEO of Malaysia's largest radio station. Then he got headhunted to assist the Prime Minister. All right? Okay, so he's from corporate. Right? So he's a big guy, right? And I met him at KLCC at Ben's, as I mentioned. Verbatim, this is what he said to me. I said, hello. And he looked at me. He said, who the toot do you think you are? And I said, I'm sorry. I'll say it again. Who the toot do you think you are? Fill in the blanks, the self-censorship. Toot. And he said, young man, do you even know that this list is an exclusive, is an elite list that the Prime Minister is going to announce the nation's best youth? And I just got a call from the office that you are just going to nominate yourself. How shameless are you? And I said, well, because I believe I have a story. And I just came back from a world trip where I volunteered across 22 countries working on social impact projects. I had the chance to learn with Sir Richard Branson along the way during these projects. And I find that my story could be an inspiration to many Malaysians. I've heard that many of the shortlisted candidates that the Prime Minister will be recognizing as youth icons are all celebrities, actors, actresses, sports athletes, successful businessmen. But what about the average Joe like me? I would be representing most of the Malaysian youths. And that guy said, all right, young man, I'll tell you what, you got good balls. You got good balls, okay? I got your CV. I'm going to go back and speak to the Prime Minister, and let's see if you are made National Youth Icon. Good to meet you. You got balls, young man. And he walked off. 2 weeks later, I got an email from that guy and said, and it reads, hello, my name. Yeah, he likes to swear. He's like, hey, you got it, man. Don't be late. Come to the Prime Minister's office this date. The Prime Minister would give you a medal and you will be interviewed by the media. Congratulations, you're one of Malaysia's national youth icon. Guess what happened?
Amazing.
I was made the national youth icon the first time in 2013. I was made the national youth icon again in the year 2017. But let me tell you the difference. In 2017, I did not have to pitch myself anymore. They were like, okay, Michael, the Prime Minister is going to announce a fresh cohort of National Youth Icon, and you made the list again. Yay! However, I noticed something. In the second list of 20, there were only 8 celebrities. The other 12 were unknown. And I looked at this same guy who swore at me, right, all those years ago. I said, hey, what happened? He was like, oh yeah, inspired by you, I guess. They wanted to give lesser known youths a chance to shine. I mean, Sandhya.
Super proud of you.
You know.
For 2 reasons.
Yeah, please.
One, for, of course, being recognized. Second, also being a trailblazer and setting a new trend. How and what kind of people should be recognized?
Oh boy, I can tell you this, Sandhya. In 2014, when Obama visited my talk and it was covered in the media, right? You know that very next year, there were so many young trainers and speakers in Malaysia.
Yeah.
And then I was like, wow, these are all my competitors technically, right? But what I heard from the industry
You're the mentor.
Well, thank you. It was interesting. So what I heard from the industry was that they said, we read that Michael Teoh could speak in front of Obama, and we know of his background. He was a bully victim in school. If he could speak in front of Obama, what is stopping us from speaking too? So I gave birth to more competitors. But, in a good way. Right now, I work with them. I think one of the things that I really appreciate being in MAPS, the Malaysian Association of Professional Speakers, is that we believe in growing the pie instead of thinking that the pie is scarce. So growing the pie here means that share opportunities, be generous, have abundance mindset, right? And that helped me a lot. It continues to help me today.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I can't agree more than that. Michael, I mean, whatever is happening right now also is a result of the pure collaboration and the pure love and the genuine respect that we give each other, although we come from different countries. There is a common purpose that drives us all to give back to the global society.
Thank you.
I'm so lucky and honored to meet so many like you who have inspired when I was at MAPS, and they continue to inspire everybody. And that's the reason why, I'm doing this, inviting whoever could come, so that we all share our journeys and inspire so many during this process. And who knows, right? So, we're just growing this whole community of leaders who can transcend others' lives. So truly amazing stories, Michael. And the way you tell your stories is so powerful, I'm telling you. Like, I need a course from you.
Oh, no, please. You're too kind, Sandhya. Too kind. I'm just over dramatic. Again, if I can share something.
Yes, of course.
Any of the listeners out there who are tuning into the Trailblazers podcast with Sandhya, she's doing an amazing job. God bless her. God bless all of you.
you.
And for any of you out there who are parents, allow me to give you one tip. So when you send your kids to school, let them experience 3 levels of communication. Number one, level one, send them to a public speaking class or get them involved in school activities which requires them to do public speaking. Number one. Number two, level two, once they're done with public speaking, get them involved with drama, acting. All right. And schools, I'm pretty sure it's the same in schools in India as well. Schools in Malaysia, we do have drama competitions, acting competitions, right? Acting. So get your kids involved with drama. Now, why is that? Number one, level one, it's speaking. So they are now good orators. But if they also master the art of acting, they could add in a lot of dramatization to how they tell their stories, or just being plain annoying like me, right? So there you are. But number three, level three, they should be involved in debating. Because when they're involved in debating, they will be forced to think on their feet. And if they are drafted to be the opposition, they will be forced to defend the topic, even though they do not feel like the topic is aligned with them, right? So a lot of people tend to ask me, say, Michael, is it enough for us to send our kids to public speaking? It's enough, but I think if you see potential in your kids to be extraordinary, let them go through the 3 stages: public speaking, drama, acting, and debating. Then, as Darth Vader from Star Wars once said, then your training will be complete. There you are.
Goodness.
And you notice, all this did not come out in maps, because in maps, my intention there was, I want to help my fellow speakers. I want to help my fellow comrades. They don't have to see all this over-dramatized thing, right? For me, it's just there. How do I deliver most value for speakers? And for your listeners, for Trailblazers, I hope they're also entertained as they're listening and watching us right now.
Amazing. I know talking with you is not going to be enough in one session. So I'm going to keep calling you back again. Have different themes, and then I'm going to call you back, I guess. But so
great to do that. I'm putting that commitment. The moment you want me to come back, happy to come back again. Happy to share, Sandhya. Just let me know. Yes.
Oh my God. Yes, you're pure joy, Michael, and I can see that in your face. So, Michael, before we close, okay, in the account of time, I skipped a lot of questions because you already kind of like answered them. But
thank you.
Could you tell me like one closing thought you have that you wish to share to, let's say, a kid or somebody who's either being bullied, or maybe their mindset has been oriented in such a way that they're not able to come out of that zone?
You mentioned about walk with the kings, but never lose that common touch. That was the second mantra that I adopted in my life. And that mantra was adopted right after I surfaced from my bully episode. But allow me to share with you the first ever mantra that I've ever adopted in my life, that I sealed and embedded into my heart. And that mantra sounds like this: life is a joy when you start creating opportunities instead of waiting for opportunities. That would be my advice to a young person, to anyone watching this right now, listening to this right now. Life is a joy, but it becomes a joy only when you see the power of what you can create instead of the excuse of you waiting. So go ahead, create things, my dear brothers and sisters. There you are.
Thank you. Wow, what a lovely and powerful message, Michael.
Thank you.
You're true joy, my little friend, my
Thank
brother.
you. Thank you, sis. Thank you. Thank you. It's a joy being here with you as well. I love how we feed off each other's energy. And
Yeah.
definitely you're in Hyderabad, and I know PSA is in Delhi. Those are the two places I
Yes,
have
I'm
yet to
living in
go.
Delhi, and I
Yeah.
wish to see you soon, maybe
Oh,
even
yes.
before that.
Oh,
But
please. Yeah.
so, Michael, thank you so much. And
Thank you.
it's an honor and privilege, and I truly respect, and I'm so honored to witness your energy, and I'm so blessed to have met you already. But amazing energy you got, and more than that, your intention and your purpose should make you more successful so that you continue to inspire so many people around
Yeah.
the world.
So that
I
I
wish you
can
all the best.
so that I can give even more. The more
Yes.
successful I become is so that I can use my influence, networks that I have to
Look
give
at
more and impact lives.
you are a giver and you are a trailblazer. So thank you so much, Michael. It was a lovely conversation that I had, which I will always cherish for sure.
Thank
And
you.
I hope the audience got inspired and smitten by the energy of Michael. So there you are. So I hope to see you all on another episode of Trailblazers podcast. So stay tuned, keep blazing your trail, and if you like this, please do share to whoever can benefit out of this energy that we are trying to create here. Thank you all very much. Signing off, I'm your host Sandhya, and I wish to see you all soon. Thank you.
Bye.